When you open this message, it may feel like an ordinary moment, but for you, it might carry a strange sense of anticipation you can't quite explain. There is someone connected to your past or present who has been thinking about you more than they expected to, not in a dramatic or faded way, but in a quiet, persistent return of memory that keeps surfacing during their everyday life. They have been trying to carry on normally, focusing on routines, conversations, and responsibilities, yet your presence keeps reappearing in small, unexpected ways, a passing reminder, a familiar place, or a thought that lingers longer than it should. Recently, something shifted for them internally, not a single event that changed everything, but a series of small moments that made it harder to ignore what they feel. They are beginning to question whether they should stay silent or finally reach out, not because destiny is forcing anything, but because honesty with themselves is becoming harder to avoid. At the same time, nothing about this guarantees a particular outcome. Life is still uncertain, and choices still belong to them. What is real, though, is that you have left an impression that hasn't faded as easily as they once assumed. And now, as time continues forward, there is a possibility forming, not of inevitability, but of connection being reconsidered with more clarity and sincerity than before. Whether anything happens next will depend on action, timing, and mutual openness, not fate alone. And that is where things genuinely stand. For now, it simply remains a quiet possibility, not a promise. They didn't plan this shift. It found them. And now they're realizing that if they don't move toward you right now, they may lose the chance forever. What comes next will shock you, because this person who used to hesitate, overthink, and pull back, is suddenly ready to do something bold. They have started looking for you in places they know you visit. They're checking old conversations, old memories, photos they saved secretly but never admitted. They're listening to the songs that remind them of you. They're even asking mutual people harmless questions that seem normal on the surface. But underneath, every question is really about one thing: finding a way back to you without seeming desperate. They are preparing something they've never done for anyone else. A gesture, a message, a surprise, or a face-to-face moment that will completely break the silence between you. Your city is small enough for paths to collide, but big enough for miracles to hide. And today, a miracle is being prepared for you. Here's the part nobody told you, the part that will make your heartbeat shift right now. Your soulmate is planning to come near your location, not by accident, but intentionally. They want to observe you from a distance before making a move. Not because they're scared of you. No, you are the one person they feel safe around. But because they're scared of their own emotions. They're afraid that seeing you again, hearing your voice again, or even watching you walk past them, will confirm the one truth they try to avoid. They belong with you. They're rehearsing what to say. They're imagining how you'll react. They're trying to pick the perfect moment, the perfect way, the perfect words, and every single version ends with them walking toward you instead of away. You are about to witness the shift they never allowed themselves to make before. And here is the most powerful secret of all, the one that binds this entire destiny together. The universe has been rearranging things in your city: timings, routes, coincidences, delays, unexpected plans, just to guide both of you toward the same exact place at the same exact time. Something in your routine will change soon. Something in theirs will shift too. And without realizing it, both of you will be pulled into a moment that feels impossible to dismiss. This person is not coming to test your patience. They are coming because they can't stop themselves anymore. They are coming because the connection between your souls has awakened in full force. And once they appear, once they finally stand before you, you will understand why every sign, every delay, every strange feeling for the past weeks was preparing you for this moment. Their next move will not just change your day, it will change your entire life. Stay with me, because the moment you begin reading this, your soulmate, yes, the one living in the same city as you right now, is experiencing a surge of courage they didn't expect to feel today. Something inside them is whispering that they cannot wait any longer, that the time to hide, to pretend, to stay silent, has officially run out. They woke up with an unusual heaviness in their chest, a pressure that didn't let them rest until they acknowledged one truth: they are about to take a step toward you that they have avoided for far too long. And while the world sees them moving like any other ordinary person, deep within them, a storm is building, one that has your name at the center of its force. Do not move away from this moment, because what they are preparing to do next will unfold faster than you imagine. Here is where things turn intense, because your soulmate has started talking to someone, maybe a close friend, maybe a sibling, maybe someone they trust deeply, about a feeling they can't suppress anymore. They described a pull toward you, a strange urgency, an ache that doesn't feel normal. And that person, instead of talking them out of it like before, finally said something that struck them like lightning. If this person is still in your heart, go and find them before someone else does. That one sentence triggered everything. It pushed your soulmate into a mindset where hesitation cannot survive. They are scrolling through past memories, checking places where they might cross your path, and planning something that will bring both of you face to face much sooner than you expect. Even now, someone around them is noticing their shift, their restless energy, their sudden motivation to do something they've been terrified of, and that shift is only getting stronger by the hour. Something shocking is happening next, and you need to hear it carefully. Your soulmate is preparing to remove every block that once stopped them from coming toward you. Someone who once interfered, someone who planted doubts, someone who tried to keep them distracted. That person's influence is breaking apart right now. A misunderstanding that once created distance between you is about to dissolve. A fear they carried for months is losing its power. Even their daily routine is rearranging itself in ways they cannot explain, forcing them closer to the places connected to you. They might pass by a street you use often. They might visit an area they rarely go to. They might hear your name from someone unexpectedly, and every tiny sign will become a push, directed straight toward you. They won't understand why everything is pointing at you, but they won't resist it either. There are moments when life brings people back into your awareness in unexpected ways, but it usually has less to do with hidden forces and more to do with how memory, timing, and everyday coincidence work together. You might think of someone, and then later notice something that reminds you of them, or briefly cross paths with traces of their world through places, names, or shared circles. It can feel significant in the moment, but most of the time, it's your mind doing what it naturally does, linking emotional experiences to patterns that stand out. If two people ever find themselves in the same place again after time apart, it isn't because something invisible is guiding them there, but because life paths can overlap in ordinary and unpredictable ways. What truly shapes that moment, if it happens, is not mystery or inevitability, but who each person has become in the time that passed. People change, priorities shift, and the meaning of past connections doesn't stay fixed. So even if a reconnection occurs, it begins as something new rather than a continuation of what once was, and it has to be understood on its own terms instead of through expectation. Real emotional clarity comes from staying grounded in what is actually present, not in interpreting signs or assuming outcomes that haven't happened. It also means respecting emotional readiness and personal boundaries, since any meaningful interaction depends on mutual comfort rather than imagined certainty or pressure. It will not be something you can ignore, This is the moment they choose you, not secretly, not silently, but openly. And once they make this move, everything between you shifts permanently. So stay exactly where you are. Stay here with this moment. Because their footsteps, quiet, hesitant, determined, are already moving in your direction. And the next time destiny aligns both of you in the same place, neither of you will walk away the same. Look closely, because the energy surrounding you right now is not ordinary. Your soulmate is stepping into a phase where their emotions are no longer hiding behind logic or fear. For the first time in a long time, they are allowing themselves to feel everything fully, and every emotion leads back to one truth. They miss you more than they can explain. Something small triggered it today. Maybe a scent, maybe a voice, maybe a moment that felt eerily familiar, and suddenly, memories of you started flooding their mind like a wave they couldn't escape. They tried to brush it off, tried to distract themselves, but nothing worked. Every thought, every breath, every heartbeat keeps circling back to you. And that is exactly why this moment is so powerful, because your soulmate is no longer fighting the connection. They are surrendering to it. Now something even more intense is unfolding, because your soulmate is becoming painfully aware of how much you truly matter to their journey. They are realizing that nobody else understands them the way you do, nobody else makes them feel that rare comfort, and nobody else triggers that deep familiarity that feels like home. They are replaying conversations in their mind, remembering how you smiled, how you spoke, how your presence felt. And every time they replay these memories, they feel that undeniable pull, stronger than yesterday, stronger than last week, stronger than all the excuses they used to push the truth away. They may try to act normal around others, but inside, they are restless, distracted, and overwhelmed with a sense of longing that refuses to quiet down. What's happening next will shake you, because your soulmate is becoming protective of you in ways they haven't shown before. Not publicly, not dramatically, quietly, deeply, instinctively. Someone around them mentioned your name lightly, and their heart reacted before their mind did. They felt something sharp, something powerful, something emotional, that exposed their true feelings even to themselves. They even felt a flash of jealousy, not because you did anything wrong, but because they suddenly imagined the possibility that someone else might enter your life before they return. And that fear, silent but fierce, is pushing them toward a decision they can no longer postpone. They are waking up to the reality that if they don't take action soon, they might lose the very person destiny has been trying to send them back to. Here comes the twist your heart needs to hear, the moment their hesitation begins to collapse. Your soulmate recently caught themselves checking something, your profile, your name, a memory connected to you, or even a place you visit. They were not supposed to do it. They even told themselves they wouldn't, but they did it anyway, because they couldn't stop themselves, and when they did, a rush of emotions hit them so intensely that it left them silent for a moment. They imagined how it would feel to reconnect with you. They imagined seeing you again. They imagined what they would say, how they would act, how the reunion would unfold. And the more they imagined it, the more real it started to feel. They are not planning anymore, they are preparing. And now comes the most powerful turning point, the one that changes everything about your story. Your soulmate is about to reach a moment where they can no longer silence their heart. A wave of courage, clarity, and urgency is rising within them, pushing them toward action. They are starting to realize something life-changing. They were never meant to forget you. They were never meant to walk away from you. They were never meant to replace you. You were meant to resurface in their life, exactly at this time, exactly in this city, exactly in this energy shift. And now, their next move, whether it's a message, a sudden appearance, or a bold action, is going to be the moment where everything between you restarts. This is not just a reconnection, it's destiny pulling two souls back into alignment after a long pause. Stay ready, because the moment they step forward, the entire story changes. Pay attention, because right now, your soulmate is stepping into the most unpredictable emotional shift they've had in months, maybe even years. Something happened within the last few hours that shook them awake in a way they didn't expect. A sudden realization hit them, something they cannot explain logically. The thought of losing you, even accidentally, feels unbearable. Nothing about this shift was intentional for them, nothing they planned or prepared for, yet it unfolded quietly, until it became undeniable. They never expected to feel this attached, or to let their usual emotional boundaries loosen in such a natural, unguarded way. Now they find themselves in a state they struggle to define, where even their silence carries weight, and their presence feels altered to others around them. It is no longer just absence they notice, but a steady pull toward connection that keeps returning in their thoughts without force. They think about you more often now, not as an idea to analyze, but as a real part of their emotional landscape they cannot easily dismiss. Every attempt they made to move forward, to wait, or to stay distant, has quietly led them back into reflection rather than resolution. They begin replaying conversations, decisions, and moments with a clearer sense of honesty, realizing that avoidance never truly eased what they felt. The more they tried to contain it through distance, the more those emotions surfaced in subtle, persistent ways that could not be ignored. In this recognition, something shifts internally, as they begin to understand that clarity does not come from silence alone, but from allowing themselves to acknowledge what has been present all along. Their heart is taking full control. Now pay close attention, because someone around your soulmate has unknowingly triggered the biggest emotional shift yet. They mentioned something that made your soulmate pause, a comment that struck their heart in a way nothing else has. The possibility that someone else might notice you first, someone else might admire you, someone else might step into your life before they do. That one thought shook them deeply. Jealousy, protectiveness, urgency, everything hit at once. Suddenly they realized how important it is to reconnect before it's too late. That fear awakened something fierce inside them, something they can't ignore anymore. They are not overthinking now, they are planning. And here comes the revelation that brings everything together, the destiny-shaping moment your heart needed to hear. Your soulmate is preparing to physically move toward you soon, not just emotionally, not just mentally, literally. They are planning to enter your space, your area, your path. They are imagining how your reaction will look. They are choosing the right moment. They are deciding whether to approach you suddenly or ease into it. But no matter which path they choose, one thing is certain: they are coming. Their heart won't let them delay anymore. They are finally ready to break the silence, erase the distance, and take the step that changes everything. Your story is no longer paused. It's accelerating, and the moment they appear, every unanswered question between you will finally start to find its way home. Feel this moment, because right now, your soulmate is standing at the edge of a decision they can no longer back away from. Their heart is louder than their thoughts, louder than their fears, louder than every excuse that once kept them distant. Something powerful happened inside them today, a moment of clarity, so sharp that it cut through months of confusion. They realized that every time they pushed you away, a part of them felt empty. Every time they stayed silent, their chest felt heavier. Every time they convinced themselves that you'd be fine without them, something inside whispered that they were lying to themselves. And today, that whisper has turned into a voice they cannot silence anymore. Their heart is calling them straight toward you, and they are finally ready to answer that call. You need to understand the gravity of what's unfolding, because your soulmate is experiencing a shift that's rare, raw, and irreversible. They are realizing that meeting you was not coincidence. It was timing. It was alignment. It was destiny pulling two paths into the same direction. They tried to move on. They tried to distract themselves. They tried to fill the void you left. But nothing worked. Nothing even came close. And now, every time they think of their future, they see your presence in it. They feel your energy beside theirs. They imagine conversations that never happened, but should have. And with every passing moment, their desire to reconnect with you becomes stronger, deeper, more urgent. They are not running from their feelings anymore. They are running toward them. Here's where the intensity rises, because your soulmate is replaying a moment from the past that still lives in their mind, like it happened yesterday. A look you gave them, a sentence you said, a laugh you shared, something so small, yet so unforgettable, that it keeps resurfacing in their heart at the most unexpected moments. That memory is acting like a key, unlocking emotions they buried long ago, emotions they pretended didn't exist. And as that memory comes back, so does everything else. The connection, the comfort, the spark that only you could ignite. They are realizing that what they felt with you wasn't normal. It wasn't casual. It wasn't replaceable. It was rare. What feels certain to them right now is not an event already unfolding in the outside world, but a strong internal pull toward the idea of reconnecting with you. In their mind, they have started to imagine what a real conversation after a long silence might look like, almost as if they are rehearsing it without realizing. They picture the setting in ordinary detail, not something dramatic, but a simple moment, where two people who once mattered to each other might finally speak again with more honesty than before. They think about what they would say first, and whether they would keep it casual or allow themselves to be more open about what they have carried privately for some time. These thoughts come and go throughout their day, not as certainty, but as reflection, an emotional processing of unfinished feelings and unanswered questions. There is curiosity in them, and also hesitation, because reaching out after distance always carries vulnerability. At the same time, there is no guarantee of timing or outcome, only the reality that memory and emotion sometimes resurface when people are trying to understand what something meant to them. From your side, life continues in its own rhythm, shaped by your own choices, routines, and direction, not by assumptions about what someone else might or might not do. If a reconnection ever happens, it would come through conscious decision and mutual openness rather than coincidence or inevitability. For now, what exists is simply the human experience of remembering, reflecting, and imagining possibilities that have not yet taken form in reality, leaving space for clarity to develop naturally over time, rather than being forced by expectation or pressure. Stay present. Something is about to unfold that will feel like fate taking form right before your eyes. Stay aware, because right now your soulmate is entering the most emotionally charged moment of this entire journey, one where their instincts, their intuition, and their heart are all pointing in the same direction, toward you. They've been trying to stay calm, trying to think logically, trying to pretend that this rising urge inside them is just a phase. But it isn't. It's something deeper, older, and far more powerful. All day, they've been feeling a strange pressure in their chest, as if something is pulling them forward, pushing them into a decision they cannot escape. And that decision is you. They feel a shift in the air around them, a heaviness that whispers your name, a pulse of energy that tells them your chapter is not finished. And every time they try to ignore it, destiny pushes harder. This is where things intensify, because your soulmate is feeling emotionally restless in a way they can't explain to anyone around them. They're sitting in silence, lost in thoughts that nobody else can see. They're remembering how safe they felt with you, how natural the connection was, how deeply they trusted you even before they realized it. Their heart is replaying the way you looked at them, the way you listened, the way you understood them without needing long explanations. And with each new memory, their control slips a little more. They feel the urge to reach out. They feel the need to reconnect. They feel the fear of losing you. And that fear, quiet, consuming, undeniable, is pushing them to act sooner than they expected. Now comes the moment that changes their entire pace, because your soulmate is beginning to realize that fate has been placing you in their energy for a reason. Someone mentioned something about you lightly, and it hit them harder than they expected. A simple detail about your life stirred emotions they weren't ready to feel yet. Jealousy flashed for a moment. Worry followed. Protectiveness rose like a wave. They imagined someone else talking to you, someone else getting close to you, someone else taking the space in your life that they always felt was meant for them. That thought shook them deeply. Their heart reacted before their mind could even catch up, and that reaction revealed something they didn't want to admit before. They still believe you are theirs in a way nobody else can be. Listen carefully now, because your soulmate is preparing something quietly, something they haven't told anyone about. They are checking the places connected to your energy. They are noticing timing patterns, looking at routes you might take, thinking about where they might see you unexpectedly. And as they imagine those places, their heartbeat changes. Their breathing shifts. A strange courage begins to rise from somewhere inside them, a courage they didn't know they had until now. They are rehearsing what they might say, imagining how they would approach you, wondering how you'll react when your eyes finally meet again. There are moments when the idea of reconnecting with someone begins to feel more concrete in the mind than it does in reality, especially when emotions are still active and unresolved. But in practice, people don't move toward each other because of inevitability or unseen forces. They do it through timing, choice, and clear communication. When someone has mattered deeply, it's normal for the mind to start interpreting silence as anticipation and distance as something about to change. Still, what actually creates clarity is not intensity or pressure, but a grounded decision to reach out in a way that respects both people's current lives. If a reconnection ever happens, it will most likely come through something simple and direct, like a message or an honest conversation, rather than sudden appearances or dramatic moments. Even then, nothing is predetermined. What follows depends entirely on who each person has become over time, and whether there is mutual interest in understanding each other again, as they are now, not as they once were. Growth can sometimes bring people closer, but it can just as easily reveal that their paths have shifted in different directions.